everybody, it's your girl Evie. I told y'all I was going to be back with Law and Order Organized Crime. Let's get right into it. Y'all know it's the season finale. This is so good. I mean, Stabler got his own series. Season 1 was epic, you guys, okay? This whole season was epic. I cannot wait for season 2. And yes, he's been approved for season 2, the whole series. So let's get right into it. We're going to cover how did it start, what happened, who did it, why, and how did it end. This particular episode is episode number 8 of season 1. It's called Forget It, Jackie. It's Chinatown. So we get right into the music. It cuts into it. Dun dun. So how did it start? We get a recap about the op and how it went, how they captured everybody, Joey and Richie, Gina, Richard, and everybody that he was associated with at this point. We know that Gina is dead. We know Isaac is dead. We know Angela is in love with Elliott, and that he, even though he doesn't admit it, he is in love with Liv. Because when he had that whole thing with his family, the intervention, and he said, "I love you," and looked directly at Liv, you know he was in love with her. He still is. Yes, he loved Kathy. She was his beloved wife. But I feel like he's loved Liv for a long time too. Well, Elliott shows up with all his kids in court to see Richard and Dana and Ritchie go to prison or get sentenced. At least have, make sure they don't get bail at this point because they murdered Kathy. Well, Captain Ayanna Bell is there too. Ritchie did not know that Richard, his dad, had actually killed his grandfather. So that was brought up in court. Well, he looks kind of surprised. Athena Davis is their lawyer, and they all plead not guilty. Like they not guilty. Of course they do. Well, they talk about the charges, which include money laundering, murder, the COVID vaccines that they were using illegally to get to people for sale. So the lawyer, the ADA, who works for our side, says she doesn't want them to get any parole. She wants them to be remanded into custody. And sure enough, the judge remands them right into custody. Well, Richard looks at Elliott like he's going to kill him. They leave the courtroom. They talk to the lawyer. She says that the kids will not be testifying against Richard. This is Athena Davis, Richard's lawyer. She goes and talks to the press and she says, well, the kids, they're not going to testify against their dad. Well, Elliott tells them he has no comment, and he tells all of his kids who were in court with him to keep their eyes forward and keep on going. So they say nothing. And he takes his kids home. Captain Bell is up there looking as they walk down the stairs, and she's talking to a gentleman, and she tells him that Captain Bell, he tells her, Captain Bell, you got to watch out for yourself. And she says, well, Stabler has my back, and I'm glad to have his. Cue the music. Dun, 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 dun. Well, what happened, you guys? We see Angela waiting and watching the news in her hotel room because now she's under security. People are trying to protect her right now because she didn't say a whole lot against Richard. So her lawyer shows up and he brings her some food, and Washburn pats him down and says, look, dude, you can't be bringing food in here. Everything that has to come through here has to come through us so we know it's safe. So he can't give her the food. Well, she talks to him and she wants to talk to Ritchie, her son, because she knows Ritchie is kind of gullible and young, and he really didn't have much in this. We know he killed Gina. We know that because we saw it. But she says that she doesn't believe that he murdered anybody. Well, Ellsworth, her lawyer, she wants to know who the other woman is that Richard was talking about. Remember, he said that Elliott loved another woman and it wasn't her. Obviously, this has been on her mind. So Ellsworth tells her it's Olivia Benson, Captain Olivia Benson. And she looks like, wow, you can't compare to Olivia and the stuff that they've been through, but carry on. So we find that Richard talks to his lawyer. He's in an orange jumpsuit, you guys. I'm so glad to see him in jail. She tells him he could be in jail for a whole year before it gets to a courtroom. So she tells him, if you got a card to play, you better play it now. Meanwhile, we go to the office. Captain Bell takes Gina's personal effects. That had to be so hard. She says that Gina's family didn't even know she was a cop, because they're on the other end of that. They're criminals. But it was really hard to see, Gina's personal effects. Well, here we know that Vince Baldy, who's the Assistant Attorney General, wants to talk to Richard, or Richard wants to talk to him. Richard wants to get out, of course, and he wants to cut a deal. So Richard's going downtown tomorrow for a meeting with Baldy. We see the lawyer and Baldy and Captain Bell go down to the restaurant to meet Vince prior to this event happening. Assistant District Attorney Ann Frazier is her name, and she works for the NYPD of New York. Well, she works for the state of New York. I love Captain Bell's hair. Let me just interject that right there. She looks so cute. You know what I'm saying? So they try to talk to Vince to convince him to not listen to anything that Richard has to say. Elliott says, he murdered my wife. Don't let him use my wife's murder as a get out of jail free card. Because he might say, well, I'll confess to the murder if this happens. Well, Vince Baldy is going to go with the knowledge that Richard has, because he says Richard knows a lot. And if it can help us to take down other people, I'm going to take the meeting. So he does. We see Elliott on the phone. He's breathing. He's doing his breathing exercises. And obviously he's talking to some type of counselor. He's going to take a shower. And the counselor tells him, I know, you have to choose someone to trust. Call them. So he gets on the phone, and he calls Captain Bell, not Olivia. So his PTSD specialist told him to choose someone. So he chose Captain Bell. She comes over and they talk about nothing. She says, we don't have to talk about anything. We can just sit here. He has no food, no water. He said he got some Triscuits and, well, he has some water and Triscuits, but that's about it. He ain't got no food in the refrigerator. And she laughs because she's like, of course you don't. It's you. Of course you don't. We cut to Ritchie in jail. He looks scared. People start to talk to him. He goes to talk to the Marcy killers, or so he thinks they're the Marcy killers. He tells them he is Ruffy's brother, his half-brother, and that he needs protection. He tells them that he knows information about them, that they work with Congressman Leon Kilbride. He needs protection from Joey's people, because Joey's people in there looking at him like he a snack. Okay, it's about to go down. The convicts don't want to talk to him. He knows too much, and they tell him to keep his mouth shut, that they'll get with him later. Well, Richie's in trouble. He ain't never been in prison. He don't know what to do. He's weak. Well, we see Detective Washburn on his way up to the hotel to relieve Morales. Morales is taking his shift. Now it's time for him to do his shift. He has supplies that Angela has asked for so she can take a shower, because she ain't been taking a shower. She hasn't been eating, etc., etc. Well, Ritchie is taking a shower. We cut back to him in prison. Well, I won't say prison, in jail. He's talking to the street soldiers, because they identify themselves as street soldiers and not the Marcy killers. He says he knows Mr. Taylor. He tells Ritchie that, and Ritchie says, okay, Mr. Taylor, and he says, well, why are you trying to cut into your dad? Y'all don't usually go against each other. And Ritchie tells him, well, he killed my grandfather. And he looks at him like, oh, okay, I get it now. Well, the lawyer comes over again, and Angela is going to take a shower. Ellsworth, he comes in. He wants to talk to her, and she goes in. She takes the supplies that Washburn has got her, and she starts to crying. She hears noise out there, and she jumps. Every second she's jumping because she figures Richard is going to kill her. And believe me, he's going to try. Well, she takes a shower, and then they hear a noise after she's been crying. She fell to the ground. They bust the door in, after Washburn has been watching TV. They hear Angela fall in the shower. They go in. She's foaming at the mouth. So obviously she's been poisoned. At first I thought she drank the supplies that he gave her in order to kill herself. So they call an ambulance. They call for a bus. We see Elliott talk to his PTSD specialist. He's nervous. He's feeling hopelessness. He's having a hard time talking to her about this particular case because he just can't let go. He knows that he's done his job, and now it's up to the attorneys, it's up to the lawyers, it's up to the judge in order to get Richard and his family for what they've done to him. So he can't really handle that. He feels like he should be doing something in order for that to go along better. He says he's done his job, and now it's up to the money and lawyers to take care of it. Well, we get into why. Why? Well, Elliott wants everything to go right, but it's out of his hands. They call him about Angela. She's lucky to be alive because she was poisoned. Jet said, the computer girl, and I hate calling her the computer girl, but she's so smart, that's what I call her. Jet said the food was cleared. There was no toxicology reports indicating that there was poison in the food. So she didn't ingest the poison herself. It must have been in the Westmere drugs that Washburn delivered to her. He ordered the meds online, and then he picked them up curbside. Due to COVID, they're picking up stuff curbside. So he was doing his job, but he didn't use his work phone, which is encrypted. He used his regular cell phone. Now, I'm starting to think this guy's kind of shady. I don't really trust him. I don't know what it is, but I don't really trust him. But anyway, Jet proves that his phone was copied. That someone copied his information in his phone, and obviously the stuff that he brought her, that's what poisoned her. Now we see Richard being visited by Captain Bell and Elliott. He's reading a book, and he tells them, wait just a second, it's finna get good. Then he has his suit on. They're taking him to a meeting with Vince Baldy, like he said he was going to go. The FBI does not know if they need more security. They don't figure they need security. So the FBI is escorting him to the meeting. Well, Elliott tells him, y'all need more security. So Captain Bell and Elliott decide they're going to follow them, and that's a smart move. Well, Captain Bell talks to her wife on the phone and then hangs up. It's kind of a comical moment. And she tells Stabler, don't try me, So the convoy that has Richard in it gets cut off by 2 trucks. Now, I know something about to go down, and it does. These guys come out of the woodworks. They shoot the FBI members. They try to kill Richard. But Elliott shoots the bad guy just in time to get Richard out of the car, and they run from the car and they go into this type of mall. In between that time, Richard is shot in the leg, almost to the knee. So they're trying to drag him in there to protect him. They run into the mall to try to get him somewhere to be safe. Now they're trying to keep him safe, but these people are obviously after him. They want to kill him. So they tie off his leg with a tourniquet. Not an actual tourniquet, but they use something as a tourniquet. These goons, guys, have machine guns. They mean business, okay? AR-15s or whatever you call them. They mean business. So they follow the blood trail, and they actually find them. Now, Elliott knows that people are coming to the rescue, or at least he hopes he does. He kind of peeps out of his eye and sees that these guys that are for them, backup, is actually there. So they kind of negotiate with the guys that are trying to kill them and say, look, we're going to bring them out. Captain Bell says, look, I'm going to bring him out slowly, and I'm going to give Richard to you guys. As soon as they start that, the NYPD rushes in and SWAT guys rush in. They kill one of the other guys and they arrest the other one that's trying to kill Elliott, Captain Bell, and Richard. Well, how did it end? How did it end? Lieutenant Meaning wants them to ride in the ambulance with Richard because they're like, if he's not dead, we're turning him over to the U.S. Attorney's office. So they take Richard in the ambulance. They deliver him right over to the U.S. Attorney's office. And Liv is there. What a nice surprise. Liv is there, and she tells them, we stand with you. I brought all of these cops to keep you guys safe, so we're here for you. Well, Richard recognizes Liv, and he says, Liv, you're a knockout. And then he makes additional comments that he sees why Elliott likes her the way that he does. And he says, thank you for saving my life. So now he knows who Liv is. Is she in trouble? I don't know. Well, Richard is talking to them and he tells them about the people he knows in this particular meeting with the U.S. attorneys. He has virtual viewing. Remember, he could see Gina on her phone as Gina was looking at herself. So obviously he's got some type of software and he's got information on people in Asia and Puglia and Africa and various other places that he can use to swap out information to get out of this particular problem that he's in. But once again, Elliott and them want to talk to Vince. And they tell him, look, do not let him use my wife's murder as a get out of jail free card. We only see through one prism, our family. And he asked them to not let that be a bargaining chip. He tells the attorney, I did my job, do yours. Well, Richard tells them he hopes Angela is okay because obviously she had a tummy ache. Now, he knows something about it. He probably had her poisoned because of what she said. I told you he was going to try it. So how did it end? Like I said, how did it end? They send Richard to the Metropolitan Correctional Facility. His room is dank and it's a little cell. He feels under his mattress. He gets a cell phone. He calls his wife and he tells her to go down to the wine cellar and he tells her to get on the launch pad, the Tor browser, and type in this particular message just as he dictates it. He says, type, "Oh, I'm in trouble. Can you please come and meet me?" Well, Elliott and Stabler go to see Susan Johnson, or Angela Wheatley, Susan Johnson, and in the hospital. Liv shows up upstairs too, and I'm wondering, why is she there? Well, she's in the hospital. She sees a detective that she knows, Morales, and he walks off. He's dressed as an orderly. But why is he dressed like an orderly? So she calls Elliott and says, I just seen one of your guys and he's dressed as an orderly. Well, she is, of course, a captain, and she's suspicious. I'd be suspicious too. So she hears something, and then she sees an orderly that's tied up in another room, and she calls Elliott and says, go, go, go. They get up on the same floor, and she tells them, go, go, go. And they run the other direction as to where Morales was. Well, Morales steps out of the room, and he's crying. He says he's made a mistake. He says he messed up bad. He says he took a call from Richard when he shouldn't have. And Captain Bell is trying to talk him down because he's got a gun. And it looks like he's going to kill himself, Morales is not a bad guy. He just made a bad choice. He's a good cop. He just made a bad choice. He takes care of his sister. So in exchange for, trying to kill Angela, which is what he was supposed to do, he took $2 million from Richard to do it. Well, he says he's going to shoot himself. Captain Bell's trying to talk to him. And he says, I really need you right now. And she says, well, I'm here. I'm here. Hold up. I'm here. And he shoots at her, which in essence makes her shoot back at him. And she kills him. She didn't have a choice. He shot at her point blank. Well, they find Angela in the next room, and she's got an IV in her arm. She's in and out. She's really losing it. I think she's going to die. So Liv pulls the IV out and they try to get help for her. And Elliott's just standing there and Angela's like, help me, help me. And he wants to get help. So he goes into the hallway where Morales's body is still lying there and there's blood everywhere. And he starts to yell and he says, help, I need help. Because obviously no one is coming. I hope somebody comes for Angela's sake. This was a cliffhanger. Wow, a really bad cliffhanger. So I guess we're going to have to see in season 2, does Angela make it? Does Richard get out? Are we going to have a new adversary? I don't know. But it's juicy, y'all. It's juicy. It keeps me guessing. I love Law and Order Organized Crime. I hope you do too. If you want to see more content like this, go ahead and put a like for me. Give me a like. Go ahead and subscribe. Leave me some comments. What was your best episode this season on season 1 for Law and Order Organized Crime? Tell me about it. I'd love to know. We want to talk about it. So tell me about it. Go ahead and subscribe like I asked. Please leave me some comments. Hit that notification bell so you know when I'm coming back to you. I cover Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Organized Crime, and I heard there's going to be a new Law and Order coming out. I will be covering that as well. I love you guys. Love to talk about it with you guys. You guys have a great day. I'll see you in September. All right. Love you.